Congratulations and welcome to the wrap around and wand curls. Now, I know you're wondering, why are you saying congratulations already? We are not done. Well, we have made it to the end. So the wraparound and as an added bonus, my wand curl technique are what we're going to be going over today. And we are almost to the final steps of completing this style and making it 100% perfect. But before we get into that, I just want to quickly recap. So remember, length equals length. Depending on what type of ponytail and how long the client's hair is determines the length of the bundle. 16 inches or longer equals 2. So 16 inches or longer requires at least 1.5 to at least 2 bundles, and that's all the time. As a side note, you can include in your notes that a 14-inch bundle on a client that has very long hair will also require two bundles as well, but that's only if your client's natural hair is very long. Lastly, security. So get the bundle as close to the base of the ponytail as possible. This is going to give you the security that you need to make sure that this style is going to last for your client for 2 weeks. So let's get into the 5 common mistakes to avoid during this segment of the service. Number 1 and 2 are both gaps. And I did that on purpose because there's 2 reasons why you can have gaps when you're doing the wraparound. So the first thing is that the ponytail is loose. So remember in the previous lesson, I stated that I make sure that I get the ponytail as snug as possible. And then I'll also go back and I'll add the excess wrap paper around the base to give me that added security to make sure that my ponytail, that the base of it is strong. So if the ponytail is loose, it's going to cause gaps when you're doing the wraparound. The next thing that you're going to find where you may have a gap in between the base of the ponytail and your client's hair is when the bundle was not wrapped as close to the base as possible. So you want to make sure that when you wrap the hair around that you get it as close to the base as you can. The third thing is speed. So don't rush this part of the service either. Make sure that you take your time when you're doing this segment because this is the last step of security for securing the ponytail in place. And that's going to give your client that 2 weeks worth of wear of the ponytail. The fourth thing is hairspray. So too little product can cause unraveling and or bumps. So we want to make sure that we're using enough product. And then the last thing is drying. So just like when we were doing the mold, we want to make sure that we use the blow dryer to dry the wraparound completely because if it's not totally dry, it will unravel. Now let's go ahead and check out the wraparound video. Now, as you can see, I have the camera pretty close, and I actually did that on purpose because on this ponytail, we ran out of hair. We weren't able to go all the way around at the base of the ponytail, but I made sure to get what little bit of hair we had left as close to the base as possible over the top because that's where your gaps are going to appear. So I'm going to go ahead and part out a section that's underneath, and I make sure that I don't have that it's a very clean section that I've parted out from the bottom. The next thing that I do is I put a little bit of a dab of glue on top of the weft because once I start wrapping the hair around, I don't want it to slip up or down. I want it to stay in place. And I also want the wraparound to stay in place over the course of the 2 weeks of my client wearing the ponytail. So I've saturated the hair totally with hairspray, and then now I'm just combing it and smoothing it out. So each time that I go around, I'm going to make sure that I spray it with hairspray. I'm going to comb it to smooth it out, and then I'm going to wrap it around again. This is going to give me that nice shiny band that's very smooth. And I'm going to go as close to the base of the hair as possible because I want the ponytail to be seamless. I don't want there to be any gap between the ponytail and the base of the client's head, the base of the mold. So again, I'm spraying it and smoothing it out, combing it out, and then I'm going to wrap it around again. Now on the first wraparound, you saw I lifted the hair up. Once I do that first wraparound, I don't lift the hair up anymore. I just reach my fingers underneath and I grab for the hair. Once I get to the tail end, like a very small thin piece, I'm going to add a little dab of glue, and then I'm going to smooth it around. And I'm going to take my blow dryer and I'm going to go ahead and dry that part. And while I'm drying it, I'm making sure to use my fingers to smooth it out as I'm drying it. And then my fingers are also letting me know if it's getting dry. I wanted to do the wraparound a little bit longer for this ponytail. So I took a second section and now I'm going to start wrapping that around the same way that I did the first. So I'm taking my hairspray and totally saturating the hair, and then I'm taking my comb and smoothing it out as I'm wrapping it around. So like if you had a client that wanted you to do this all the way down till you got almost towards the end, this is the technique that you would use. You would do a section and then you would dry it and then you would add another section and continue on until you get as far down the ponytail as the client's request. So I'm just drying it to make sure that it doesn't unravel. And then the next trick that I'm going to do is I'm going to take my firm aerosol spray and I'm going to totally saturate it so that it's wet on the top. I'm going to take my comb and make sure that I smooth all the hair so that it all looks like it was just one piece that I wrapped around. Once I'm done doing that, then I'm going to go ahead and take the blow dryer. So now that section is dry. And you can see that it's very shiny and very smooth and sleek. So now we're going to go ahead and get into the bonus segment, and then I'll just go over a quick recap of what I did. So right now I'm parting the hair. I'm doing a parting it from left to right, so from one side to the other. So behind it, I just used my fingers to separate the hair, and my braid was the guide. So I'm just feeling for the braid and pulling the hair one side from the other. On the top, I take the tail of my rat tail comb, and then I'm going to clip the right side and then clip the left side. Another thing that I like to do is to curl the very top segment of the ponytail separate, and that's because I want to make sure that those curls or those waves are going to fall in a particular way. So now that I have all of the hair sectioned off, I'm going to start spraying. And yes, that is my Vango hairspray. It's a versatile hairspray, so it's going to work for molding a ponytail, doing wand curls, pressing flat irons, and all of that. But I actually created it specifically for my ponytail molds. So I'm going to start wand curling and work my way up the braid versus wand curling and working my way down the braid. And this is for control, if you guessed that I was going to say that. It is for continued control. And so what I'm going to be able to do is I'm going to be able to clip each curl, and I do it from the top and from the bottom just to make sure that the curl stays compact, that the wave stays compact. So that way when it cools down and I let it out, it's going to have those nice deep waves. And I just continue that process of parting out sections and working my way up. So again, I'm spraying the hair with my Vango spritz. I'm going to make sure that I comb the section out to distribute the product evenly, and then I'm going to wrap the hair around my wand iron. Now I'm going to do that to both sides, and again I'm going to start from the bottom and work my way up to the top. And each curl I'm going to pin curl separately. Now I actually do charge and upcharge for wand curls because it does take a little bit more time, and because I like to make sure that those curls are going to stay, so I clip them and I do it a certain way. So I actually do charge an additional $25 on top of the cost of the ponytail if my clients want to add wand curls to the service. So you can see that it's clipped from the bottom all the way up. So now I'm going to do the other side in the same fashion, and I'm going to make sure that I'm wrapping the hair around in the same direction, because once I take down all of the clips, I want to make sure that everything is kind of like moving in unison, and it's uniform and it looks seamless. So again, I'm going to clip the hair from the top and from the bottom, continuing to work my way up. And then once I get to the top section where I want the curls to fall a certain way, I'm going to part that section out, and I'm going to make sure that all of those curls and those partings are going to be done kind of like in a little diagonal, in a diagonal parting, and I'm going to curl them in a diagonal direction, and that's so that each curl falls on top of the other so that you don't see any separation or gaps. With the ponytail, because of the way that we wrap the hair up the braid, it is easy for, like, let's say if you just were just grabbing the hair and curling it randomly, it's easy for you to be able to see the weft because of the way that we wrapped it, because of the method that we used of wrapping the bundle up the braid. So that's why I always make sure with the wand curls that I'm parting it in a particular type of way. And this way is the best way that I found, is the fastest, and I never have any issues once I start taking the clips out. It's always a very neat process, and the curls are always very, very nice. So this is that top section that we parted out last. And I'm just making sure that I'm leaving enough heat on the hair so that the curl can set before I put it on the clip. You can buy these gloves. I don't know if you guys ever use the glove. I know when I first started with the wand, I didn't use the glove, but I found from a class that I took that you actually want to use the glove because you want to make sure that you're holding the hair on the iron. And also when you take the hair off of the iron, you want to be able to hold it in the palm of your hand versus letting it go, because you want to be able to let the curl cool down before you let it drop. Like if I were to have curled her hair and not pin curled any of those wand curls, it would just kind of be like a body wave. It wouldn't end up looking like the way that it's going to look once I start taking out the pin curls. So now that's the entire head wand and clipped. So you can see that it's very neat. There's not a lot of hair all over the place. All the hair is very neatly clipped. And so now this is the process of taking it down. So you can see the wave is very deep, and these curls are going to last for at least a week. So they're going to get looser and looser as the days go on, but your client will be able to enjoy the curls for at least a week. Some of my clients even come in and it'll still be in somewhat of a wave pattern even after the 2 weeks. So again, I'm just taking each curl out, and I'm making sure to pull on the curl first just to kind of loosen it up from the hairspray. And then I just run the comb through just to kind of fan out the wave. And then these are my last curls that are going to be up at the top. And so again, I made sure that I did kind of like a diagonal part, so the way that they're going to fall, they actually fall right into place over the curls that are right up underneath them, so you can't see any gaps and you can't see any of the tracks going up the braid. So you can see it falls right into place. And then the last thing that I'm going to do is just make sure that I comb through the little top section to make sure that, there's no gaps and that the wave is all going kind of in the same pattern. And then I just spray the hair with a little bit of shine spray and also lightly with some of my aerosol spray. So there you have it, the wand curls and the wraparound. Now I'm unwrapping the papers from the client's hair. And so you'll be able to see the finished product. So those are all of the baby hair. The part is nice and crisp. The hair is shiny. The wraparound is as close to the base as possible. And of course, the wand curls are popping. So let's go ahead and finish up and recap what we went over. So for the wraparound, remember, gaps in between the base of the ponytail and the bundle will cause issues with the wraparound process, so it needs to be secure and seamless. Secondly, hairspray. Hairspray gives you the control that's needed for the hair to properly wrap around and lock in the style and give your client that 2 weeks worth of wear. For the wand curls, we made sure that when using a wand curl technique that it's best to begin from the bottom up. This gives you control over how the curls will lay, and the laying pattern is important because if it's done wrong, you will have gaps and you may even be able to see some of the tracks. And then lastly, clipping for control. Again, control. So control is needed at all times to create a masterpiece. And lacking control, especially on this step, will give you issues like pulling hair from the wrong place. And this creates snags that's going to disturb the curl or wave pattern. So the action steps that we have for this module, of course, are going to be apply. So make sure when practicing the wraparound to be sure to always grab from underneath and to saturate the hair with hairspray to lock the style in. And then lastly, don't forget to clip your pin curls. So congratulations, you have made it through the Perfect Ponytail course. And I'm so excited and I'm looking forward to you guys tagging me in your pictures on Instagram and showing me all the ponytail slang that you're about to be doing. Thanks so much again for joining, and I'll see you guys on the next one.